Hello, Morongo Basin and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. This is your Z107.7 local news for Sunday, October 1st, 2023. On Sundays, we usually don't report breaking news at the federal level unless it has real impact to the Morongo Basin, and the narrowly avoided government shutdown last night qualifies. The Senate voted 88-9 to approve a stopgap spending bill that will fund the federal government through November 17th, just over 45 days. The bill narrowly averted a shutdown by last night's midnight deadline. President Biden signed the bill into law shortly afterward. That stopgap bill will keep things operating normally around here, as a government shutdown in the high desert means a lot of affected folks. However, after 45 days, it's entirely possible they return to the same waiting game to see if the different branches agree on keeping things running. If that shutdown were to happen, here's how things would be affected around the Morongo Basin. On the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Base, essential services would remain available to Marines, families, and residents, according to Communications Strategy and Operations Director Captain Jonathan Huzar. He says personnel who provide health, safety, and emergency services would continue to work. Veteran health care would not be impacted. VA medical centers, outpatient clinics, and vet centers would remain open, and VA benefits would continue to be processed and delivered, including compensation, pension, education, and housing benefits. Joshua Tree National Park avoided closing its gates with the passing of the stopgap bill. During the last government shutdown in 2019, the national park remained open but understaffed, leaving trash to pile up and illegal camping and off-roading to go mostly unchecked. Volunteer residents and a skeleton park staff stepped up and maintained the park to the best of their ability. There wasn't any indication that the parks would stay open during this anticipated shutdown, and hopefully that won't be something the National Park Service will have to address on November 17th when the current stopgap funding expires. The National Park has lifted its seasonal fire restrictions effective immediately to allow campfires in the park's 9 campgrounds using the provided designated fire pits at each campsite. Joshua Tree Park Superintendent Jane Rogers says that fire safety is a big priority in the park, and the park urges the public to use caution of having a campfire on any public land. Easing of fire restrictions means that campfires, barbecues, and camp stoves are allowed in designated campgrounds, while restrictions are lifted at still the desert and dry, with invasive grasses carrying sparks further and faster than native flora. So while staying in campgrounds or anywhere in the desert, always have a shovel on hand, keep fires supervised at all times, and when the wind picks up, shut your fire down. There are no campfires during fire weather watches and red flag warnings. Fireworks are illegal everywhere in the Morongo Valley, and campfires aren't allowed anywhere outside the 500 designated drive-up campsites in the national park. Always check conditions before camping. The easiest way to do that is by downloading the National Park Service's app. Along with alerts and conditions, the app has official verified trails, maps, and park information for every national park. Find it by searching for National Park Service on the Apple or Google App Stores, or see a link at this story on our website, Z107.7 FM.com. And that's your local news. You can hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.